Hi guys, welcome back. Today's topic will be on the basics of foot and ankle, which has to be understood before trying to understand the important topic that will be asked in your exam, that is club foot. So I'll now discuss about the basic joints and the muscles involved in moving around the ankle and foot, which will help you to understand the club foot discussion, which will be presented in my next video. Now coming to the parts of the foot is divided into three parts by two lines. Now this picture which is given here is the AP view of the foot, and this picture is the lateral view of the foot. The first line, that is the red line, is drawn at the level of the talonavicular and the calcaneocuboid joint. Now, if you see in the lateral view, this is the calcaneum and this is the cuboid. So this line is in the calcaneocuboid joint. Next, this bone is the talus, this bone is the navicular, and this line is the talonavicular joint line. So this line which runs between the talonavicular joint and the calcaneocuboid joint is called the mid-tarsal joint, and the part of the foot which is behind or posterior to this red line is called as the hind foot. The second line is drawn at the junction of all the five metatarsals and the remaining tarsal bones. In the lab view, these are the five metatarsals and these are the remaining tarsal bones, that is the cuboid and the three cuneiforms. And the part of the foot which lies between these two lines is called as the midfoot. The remaining part of the foot which is anterior to this line is called as the forefoot. So these are the parts of the foot: hind foot, midfoot and forefoot. And all the foot deformities in any foot cases for that matter will be described based upon these three terms. Now the lateral view of the bones of the foot. So this is the talus, this is the calcaneus, cuboid, navicular, three cuneiforms, metatarsals and the phalanges. Now we'll first discuss about hind foot, which is behind the mid-tarsal joint or behind the line joining the calcaneocuboid and the talonavicular joint. So the hind foot, when it is concerned, it has two bones, that is the talus and calcaneus, and it has two joints. This is the tibiotalar or the ankle joint, and this is the subtalar joint or the joint below the talus. We'll first discuss about ankle joint or tibiotalar joint. Coming to the movements which occur in the ankle joint, this is the lateral view of a foot and the leg. The movement of the foot which is superior is called dorsiflexion, and this dorsiflexion movement occurs in the ankle joint or tibiotalar joint. When an axis is drawn along the lateral malleolus, any muscle which lies anterior to this axis drawn along the lateral malleolus will move the foot upwards, or any muscle that is anterior to this axis will cause dorsiflexion of the ankle joint. Now coming to the next movement, this is the normal plantigrade foot, and any movement of the foot below or downward direction is called plantar flexion, otherwise called equinus. And this plantar flexion movement also occurs in the ankle joint or the tibiotalar joint. Now again drawing an axis along the lateral malleolus, any muscle which is posterior to this axis which is drawn along the lateral malleolus will cause plantar flexion of the ankle joint. So these are the two movements in the ankle joint. One is dorsiflexion, which is caused by muscles which are anterior to the medial and the lateral malleolus. And the second one is plantar flexion or equinus, which is caused by muscles which are posterior to the medial and lateral malleolus. That completes our ankle joint part of the hind foot. Now next coming to the important joint of subtalar joint, which is also a part of hind foot. Subtalar, as the name indicates, it is below the talus and it is between the talus and the calcaneus. Now looking at this picture, which is the posterior view of the heel of a patient, this is what we see. The bone above, the bone below. The bone above is called the talus and the bone below is called as the calcaneum. This is the medial side and the opposite is the lateral side. The joint in between the talus and calcaneum is called as the subtalar joint. So the talus, calcaneus and the subtalar joint. Now, this slow movement of the calcaneum towards the medial side underneath the talus is called as inversion or otherwise called varus. So, the medial movement of the calcaneum below the talus is called inversion or varus, which occurs in the subtalar joint. Now, coming to the description. This is the normal picture of the leg and the foot, and any movement towards the medial side is called inversion or varus, and this occurs in which joint? Yes, it occurs in the subtalar joint. Now when we draw a straight axis along the middle part of the leg and the foot, as we can understand, any muscle which is present medial to this axis, which is drawn along the midline of the leg and foot, can cause inversion or varus at the subtalar joint. This is the example of heel varus. Now, this is the line along the longitudinal direction of the leg, and the axis of the heel is directed medially from this line, and this heel is called as a varus heel. Now again coming to the same picture, this is the talus, this is the calcaneum, and the joint is subtalar joint. Any movement of the calcaneum towards the lateral side of the talus that occurs through the subtalar joint is called as eversion or valgus, and that is called eversion or valgus, which occurs in the subtalar joint. Now coming to the clinical picture again, this shows the leg and the foot, that is plantigrade, and this movement of the foot towards the lateral side is called as eversion. When an axis is drawn along the midline of the leg and the foot, any muscle which is present on the lateral side of this axis will pull the foot towards the lateral side, causing eversion or valgus, which occurs in the subtalar joint. Now, this is an example of a valgus heel. This is the axis of the leg, axis of the heel, and we can see that the axis of the heel is lateral to the axis of the leg, and that is why it is called valgus or eversion. So that completes our hind foot, that is ankle joint, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, and subtalar joint, inversion or varus, eversion or valgus. Now the next joint is mid-tarsal joint or otherwise talonavicular joint and calcaneocuboid joint. Collectively, these are called mid-tarsal joints, and the movement which you have to know when concerned with this joint is adduction. As we know, medial deviation of any part of the body is called as adduction. So when the foot moves medially, it is called forefoot adduction. When you draw a straight line along the sole of the foot, it bisects the foot. When this part of the forefoot moves medially, it is called forefoot adduction, which is commonly seen in most of the deformities. And this forefoot adduction occurs in the mid-tarsal joint and the tarso-metatarsal joints. Now coming to the summary of the movements and the muscles which cause all the movements around the foot and the ankle joint. Now take this central part as the ankle joint. Any muscle that is anterior to the ankle joint causes dorsiflexion. Any muscle that is present in the posterior aspect of the ankle joint causes plantar flexion. This is the axis which is drawn from the anterior to the posterior aspect of the ankle joint, and this line divides this into a medial part and the lateral part. Any movement of the foot towards the medial side is called varus or inversion. Any movement of the foot towards the lateral side is called eversion or valgus. This line is drawn connecting the medial and the lateral malleolus. Now these two lines divides the ankle joint proper into four quadrants: anteromedial, posteromedial, posterolateral, and anterolateral. Now, based upon the presence of muscles in each of these quadrants, we can assess the movement and the function of the concerned muscle. Now, coming to the tibialis anterior, which is present in the anteromedial part of the foot. Since it is present in the anterior part, it dorsiflexes the ankle joint, and since it is present on the medial side, it inverts or causes varus movement at the subtalar joint. Now the next common muscle is the tibialis posterior, which is present in the posteromedial quadrant. So tibialis posterior, being posterior to the ankle joint, it causes plantar flexion or equinus, and as it is present on the medial side, this causes varus or inversion in the subtalar joint. Tendo Achilles is present exactly in the midline on the posterior aspect of the ankle joint, and hence it causes plantar flexion or equinus of the ankle joint. Peroneus longus and brevis are the other two important muscles which are present in the posterolateral quadrant. So, as it is present in the posterior aspect of the ankle joint, it can cause plantar flexion, and as it is present on the lateral side, they cause eversion or valgus at the subtalar joint. Now, hope you have understood the important muscles, the joints in which they act, and the movements which they cause. Now coming to the question number 1, the common case of clubfoot, that is congenital talipes equinovarus. What are the muscles that are contracted? Remember, it is equinovarus. Now the answer to that, remember, it is equinus and varus. Draw the picture again. Central is the ankle joint. Anteriorly, you dorsiflex. Posteriorly, there is plantar flexure. This is the axis which divides into medial and lateral side. Medial side is inversion and lateral side is eversion, and connect these two axes to form the four quadrants. Now, our deformity is equinus and varus. So this is equinus and this is varus. So we have to concentrate only on these two. So the remaining two can disappear. Now we know that the muscle which is present in the posteromedial quadrant, which causes both plantar flexion and varus, is tibialis posterior, and the muscle which is present in the midline causing plantar flexion is tendo Achilles. So the answer is in equinovarus, which is seen in clubfoot. It is the tibialis posterior and the tendo Achilles which are contracted, and during surgery these two muscles have to be lengthened. Now similarly, question number 2, in equinovalgus foot, what are the muscles contracted? Again the same algorithm, it is equinus and valgus, ankle joint, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, inversion, eversion, finish of the quadrants. So it is equinus, which is posterior, valgus, that is lateral. So we need the posterolateral quadrant, so the remaining two can go, and hence the muscles involved are the tendoachillis, which causes equinus, and peroneus longus and brevis, which causes eversion or valgus. And these are the three muscles which has to be surgically lengthened in a case of equinovalgus foot. So that completes our discussion on the basics of foot and ankle, so that you will be able to understand the club foot or the CTEV topic, which I will be discussing in my next video. Thank you.